The stability of every nation's economy is decided upon by investors. When investors don't react the way they're expected to, drastic consequences can occur. Over the course of history, we have seen many trends in the economy. We've seen strong economies collapsing in a matter of days when events in the world happen unexpectedly. A good example of this would be the 9/11 attack or other events such as natural disasters. To complicate matters even more, the effects of one country's economy collapsing can have cascading effects on the economies of other countries. The effects that the recent collapse of the Greek economy has had on the entire economy of Europe is merely one such example. The decision to increase, decrease, or hold the money supply stable will be a key factor in stabilizing the current economy in the United States. In order to predict the effects of changing the money supply, it's important to look at history. The Great Depression is the largest economic event to occur in U.S. history. The Wall Street crash of 1929 was one of the main causes of the Great Depression. Black Thursday, Black Monday, and Black Tuesday are all correct terms to describe the crash because the initial crash occurred over several days, with Tuesday being the most devastating. On Black Tuesday, October 29, 1929, the market lost $14 billion, making the loss for that week an astounding $30 billion. This was 10 times more than the annual federal budget and far more than the U.S. had spent in World War I. $30 billion would be the equivalent of $377 billion today. The Dow Jones market peaked at 381 on September 3, 1929, and bottomed out at 42 in 1932, which is an amazing 89% decline. It did not reach 381 again until 23 years later in 1955. Causes of the Great Depression are widely debated, but typically include a weak banking system, overproduction, bursting credit bubble, and the fact that farmers and industrial workers had not shared in the prosperity of the 1920s. In order to decide whether the money supply should be increased or decreased, we must first understand what makes up the total money supply. The money supply is comprised of three measures referred to as M1, M2, and M3. The money supply measures reflect the different degrees of liquidity or spendability that different types of money have. The narrowest measure, M1, is restricted to the most liquid forms of money. It consists of currency in the hands of the public, travelers' checks, demand deposits, and other deposits against which checks can be written. M2 includes M1 plus savings accounts, time deposits of under $100,000, and balances in retail money market mutual funds. The broadest measure is M3, which includes things such as CDs and international money market mutual funds. When the government attempts to stimulate the economy by artificially affecting interest rates or increasing the money supply, inflation can occur. Inflation is defined as a sustained increase in the general level of prices for goods and services. It is measured as an annual percentage increase. As inflation rises, every dollar you own buys a smaller percentage of a good or service. There are several variations on inflation that can occur. Deflation is when the general level of prices is falling. This is the opposite of inflation. Hyperinflation is unusually rapid inflation. In extreme cases, this can lead to the breakdown of a nation's monetary system. One of the most notable examples of hyperinflation occurred in Germany in 1923, when prices rose 2,500% in 1 month. Stagflation is the combination of high unemployment and economic stagnation with inflation. This happened in industrialized countries during the 1970s when a bad economy was combined with OPEC's rising oil prices. With the data and patterns we have been seeing in our economy since 2008, it appears that the economy is slowly turning around and slightly starting to climb. We still need more time to allow for recovery, and with this in mind, the money supply should be held stable for now. If the economy and world events continue to stabilize, it could be possible to decrease the money supply by second quarter of 2013. The U.S. has to be extremely careful in controlling the money supply in order to avoid devaluing our currency further in the global market. Governments are considered for loans according to their income and credit rating. A nation's income is measured by GDP, and its credit rating is the ability to at least pay the interest on their debt. The debt a nation incurs affects the value of the currency and can devalue the currency even more. If we continue to devalue our currency in the global market, we could see hyperinflation occur and a complete collapse of our economy.